जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना हरे जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ जय गिरिवरधारी जय गिरिवरधारी जय यशोधनंदन जय व्रज जन रंजन जय यशोधनंदन जय व्रज जन रंजन जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय यमुना तीरवनचारी जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुंज बिहारी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण गोविंद जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय गोविंद जय जय गोपाल जय जय राधा रमण हरि गोविंद जय जय राधा रमण गोविंद जय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय 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 जय गौरानिताय जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जगन्नाथ बलदेव जय सुभद्रा Subhadra Jaya Jagannatha Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jaya Jagannatha Jaya Jagannatha Baladeva Jaya Subhadra Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Jagannatha Swami Nayana Patagami Bhavatu me Jaya Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Vallabha Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Narasimhadev 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 Jaya Prahlad Maharaj 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Jaya Gurudeva 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 Jaya Gurudeva Srila Prabhupada ki jai Grantharaj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanasalakaya Sakshurvunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gata Mahyam Datati Swapatantikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yatkrupadamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dhinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamutirayet Shinvatam Swakata Krishna Punyasravana Kirtanam Hridayantastohi Abhadrani Vidunoti Suhritsatam Ashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 2. The title of the chapter is Hiranyakasipu, King of the Demons, text number 47. Yaval Linganvito Hi Atma Tava Karma Nibandhana Tato Viparyaya Klesho Maya Yogo Anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvarnate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana Tato viparya klesho Maya yogo anuvartate Yavalinganvito hi Atma Tavat karma nibandhana tato viparyah klesha maya yogo anuvartate yavallinganvito hi atma tavat karma nibandhanam tato viparyah klesha maya yogo navartate. Yavat, as long as linga anvitaha, covered by the subtle body, he indeed, Atma, the soul, Thavat, that long karma of fruitive activities, Nibandhanam, bondage, Tataha, from that, Viparyaha, reversal, wrongly thinking the body to be the self. Kleshaha, misery, Maya yoga, a strong relationship with external illusory energy. Anuvartate, follows. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. As long as the spirit soul is covered by the subtle body, considering of the mind, intelligence and false ego, he is bound to the results of his fruitive activities. Because of this covering, the spirit soul is connected with the material energy and must accordingly suffer material conditions and reversals continually, life after life. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The living entity is bound by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego. At the time of death, therefore, the position of the mind becomes the cause for the next body, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajat ante kalevaram. At the time of death, the mind sets the criteria for the spirit souls being carried to another type of body. If a living being resists the dictation of the mind, engages the mind in the loving service of the Lord, the mind cannot degrade him. The duty of all human beings, therefore, is to keep the mind always engaged at the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai mana Krishna padara vindayo. When the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, the intelligence is purified, and then the intelligence gets inspiration from the super soul. Dadami buddhi yogam tam. Thus, the living entity makes progress towards liberation from material bondage. The individual living soul is subject to the laws of fruitive activity, but the super soul, Paramatma, is not affected by the fruitive activities of the individual soul. As confirmed in the Vedic Upanishad, the Paramatma and the Jivatma, who are likened to two birds, are sitting in the body. The Jivatma is enjoying or suffering by eating the fruits of the bodily activities, but the Paramatma, who is free from such bondage, witnesses and sanctions the activities of the individual soul as the individual soul desires. See, can you pass the English Bhagavad Gita, please? Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, this may be thinking you are in the temple 25 years ago, actually. The subject matter being discussed here, we are again talking about the body, soul, because many classes we discussed, like sometimes people come to the temple, oh, I came 25 years ago, you were talking about the same thing, body, soul and this, and then after 25 you're talking the same thing. You don't have any other subject matter to talk, because this is it's a commonly asked question. People get little bit annoyed. Every time you come to the temple, again you are talking about the body, you are not this body, you are this spirit, soul, this, again and again you are talking the same thing. But it's interesting, even though we are hearing 25 years the same thing, but we have not realized it actually. We have not realized that we are not this body, we are spirit, soul, and what is the nature of the spirit, soul, and what are the activities of the spirit, soul, we have not realized. So, until that time we realize we have to hear. This is the point, because sometimes this may seem familiar, the subject matter may seem very familiar, but unless otherwise we put into practice the subject matter, that we have not realized it actually. We have not realized it. Then if we have not realized it, then we have to hear. It's not like the fundamental of the spiritual life is this only. The whole thing starts, Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna was in perplexity, Arjuna was not able to decide what to do or what not to do. So, the good thing he did was, he asked Krishna, Karpanya dosho upahata svabhava, pruchhami tvam samuda cheta. So, he asked Krishna, and then Krishna gave all this instruction. So, it is an indication for us also. It's not like Arjuna was in difficulty, so he had to read Bhagavad Gita, no, we are okay. No, we are not okay. But what we have to, in our life also, there will be difficulties will be there, problems will be there. So, in terms of problems, in terms of difficulties, when it arises, then Srila Prabhupada uses the word, it behooves. Well, actually, after reading Srila Prabhupada's books, only our English vocabulary is increasing, actually. I never understood what is behoof. It behooves us to use this human form of life to ask these questions. Why should I suffer? Why should I go through this difficulty? Why should I take birth? Why should I die? Why should I get disease? Why should I get old age? All these questions we can ask, actually. Only human being can ask. The cats and dogs, they can't ask this question. They have the cycle going on, and then that's it. Actually, they don't have any special intelligence to ask this question. But a human being can ask this question, and he can find a solution to this. So that is why here in this section, we are reading about the body and the soul, even though there may be a repetition, but it is in Prabhupada says elsewhere, in spiritual circles, sometimes repetition is also needed, actually. We keep on repeating that, because then message goes in. Sometime, one day that message will stick. Okay, that, oh, I am not this body, I am spirit. So, one day the message will go and stick in our heart. So, we have to read that. So, coming back to this today's sloka, who is speaking this sloka? Any idea? Anybody has any idea? Yamaraja, in the form of a boy, yeah. Why he is speaking?
To pacify Surenya's life.
Yes, to pacify. Who is Surenya? Yeah. See, Sivya makes our life easy, actually. So, what is setting the scene, what is happening, I don't have to explain. So, she is a very regular visitor, regular attendee, so she knows everything. So, yeah, so that is the reason. Actually, it happened before, even little bit before, Hiranyakasipu, Hiranyaksha was killed. Hiranyaksha was killed by? Varahadev. Yeah, Varahadev killed. And then to pacify, Hiranyakasipu is giving all this philosophy. So much interesting things. All this, if you just read without reading who is Uvacha, who Uvacha, Hiranyakasipu Uvacha. Without you read, that means it's a very high philosophy. You will be surprised, oh, Hiranyakasipu spoke all these things. Sometimes, like the Vedic system, even demons can philosophy, actually. Very clear philosophy. Even Ravana, he had a very good philosophy. But only thing he made a mistake, actually. He knew, he was a Brahmana, son of a Brahmana. He did all these things. He knew Vedas, everything, but he made a mistake, actually. So here we are finding it, as long as the spirit soul is covered by the subtle body, consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego, he is bound to the results of his fruitive activities. So Bhagavad Gita, the beginning only it teaches that we are not this body. This is the Bhagavad Gita beginning only. It's not 18th chapter Krishna is saying, you are not this body, you are spirit soul. In the beginning, second chapter only, correct? Second chapter, what Krishna says? Dehinosmin Kaumaram Yavanam Jara Tata Dehantara Praptir Dhiras Tatrana Muhyati. Dhira, the Dhira sober person is not bewildered by a change. So if we are bewildered, we are not sober. So that means we are not understood. So I'm not finding fault or anything with anyone, but yeah, it is a practice. We have to do that. As long as we live in the material world, we have emotions there. We are not dull stone. Like people are there, we are living with people, and there may be some people will be passing away, some people. So there will be, these things will be happening. So we need to have some emotions. There will be some lamentation will be there. So you can't completely negate that. I'm completely there. Yeah, only the soul is there and the body is gone. Like we are, at least I am not at that level. So, but the lamentation, there will be a momentary lamentation will be there. That is why Srila Prabhupada says in the Archi, the Prithu Maharaj's pastime, there was a momentary lamentation was there for Archi, and then after that she understood, yes, the destination where we are going, that is more important. So the destination, if you are going back home, back to Godhead, and then you are taking all your associates or people associated with you, then that is very glorious actually, glorious situation. So there is nothing to lament about that. So here Srila Prabhupada explains that the living entity is bound by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains in the 7th chapter. 7th chapter, 2 important slokas, where it says, Bhumi rapo nalo vayur kam mano buddhi revacha ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti ashtata. Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence and false ego, altogether these 8 constitute my separated material energies. So Krishna explains the 8 things, separated energies. What are they? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is the 5 gross elements. Mind, intelligence and false ego, they are the subtle elements. Krishna explains that this is the way the whole thing is made up of. And then he goes on saying, Apareyam itastvanyam prakritim viddhime param jiva bhuta mahabaho yayetam dharyate jagat. Besides this, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature. So that is us actually. We are not inferior energy, we are superior energy. We are part of superior energy. But what is the problem? What is the problem? We are superior energy. What is the problem then? Yes, and we are marginal. This is the marginal, tatastha sakti. We are, even though we are superior, part of superior energy, we are marginal. Marginal means you can go here, you can go there. The cat on the wall, no? Cat on the wall can jump this side or that side also. If we have good association, if we have everything good, then we will be growing spiritually. If we go this way, then oh yeah, I'm body, I have to enjoy the senses, sense gratification, blah, 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 then that's it. It goes this way also. But we are marginal, tatastha sakti. So that is why it's how you are align yourself. If you align yourself with the spiritual energy, then you can grow spiritually. And we are not alone also. So that is one thing always strikes actually. We are not alone in this world. We are not alone. Because every minute, every second, we are helped. Who is helping? Us? Yes, that's what Krishna as a Paramatma, as a super soul, he is helping every one of us. Whether you want to take advantage of his help or whether you want to take advantage of his association, up to you. We only have to make a decision. Whether to keep on like alarm is ringing, whether to get up or snooze, that's your prerogative. You make a decision whether you want to snooze or you want to get up. That same way, Krishna is ready to give guidance to everyone. Krishna is very compassionate actually, very, very compassionate. Krishna doesn't want the living entity, his sons and daughters, to suffer in this material world. So he makes arrangement actually. Sometimes he personally comes, sometimes he sends his representatives, he leaves this literature so that we can read and take advantage of that and then go back home, back to Godhead. Krishna is ready to do all of that. And over and above that, he's sitting as a Paramatma. It's in the 13th chapter, it is mentioned. Upadrashta anumantascha bhakta bharta bhokta maheshwara. Srila Prabhupada refers that here. This sloka. He is a observer, overseer and permitter. As a living entity, we are not capable of doing anything without the sanction of the Lord. The Lord has to sanction everything. That's why they have a English there a proverb, na? Man proposes and God disposes. Yeah. Because you can have a desire. You can say this, okay, I want to do this. But that has to be sanctioned by the Lord. As a Paramatma, Lord is sanctioning. Because Jivatma, by itself or by himself, he cannot do all of that. He doesn't have the capacity. So Lord is ready to explain, ready to help. And Srila Prabhupada explains here, the living entity is bound by the subtle body consisting of the mind, intelligence and false ego. So we have a gross body. Gross body is made up of ether. And subtle body is made up of false ego. That's it. All the philosophy is all covered here only. See, this is what the children, it's very, very important for us actually. Sometimes the parents will teach the children. Sometimes children will teach the parents. Because children take so much enthusiasm, so much interest. Because we have to know. Prabhupada Maharaj said, Kaumaram acharet pragya. This subject matter, not that when we are about to just kick the bucket, at that time we have to understand we are not this body, we are soul. Beginning only. From the very beginning we understand, then you can mold your life. You already lived a life of 65, 70 years, then it's very difficult to, not difficult, you can still do that, but relatively difficult at that time. You would have already learned all the bad habits and all these things, and then to give it up is very difficult. But the early age is very, very suitable. So you just grab that and it's everything, things are clean slate and everything is fresh, so you can understand very clearly. So we have a subtle body, we have a gross body. Srila Prabhupada explained so nicely. I'll just read this one piece of this thing, Transmigration of the Soul. But in the universities and other educational institutions, there is no department to find out that thing which is entrapped within the body. To get this information, we must turn to the Bhagavad Gita. Dehinosmin yata dehe. Dehi means in the body and Dehinaha, the possessor of the body. The body is just like a shirt and coat. You are the possessor of the shirt and coat. But the shirt and coat are not you. You are different from the shirt and coat. Similarly, we have two kinds of bodies, the gross body and the subtle body. The gross body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, and false ego. So, when we quit this gross body, the subtle body carries us to another gross body. This is the process of transmigration of the soul. This is what happening. When we say death, death means the gross body is quit and the subtle body is carried to the next level. So that's why Srila Prabhupada in the last sentence he says, so when we quit the gross body, the subtle body carries us to another gross body. So another gross body, how it is done? Whatever the activities we did, karmana, dhaiva netrena, jantur deha upapaddai. Because whatever the activities we have done in this lifetime, accordingly you get a suitable body. If you have done all these activities are very, very spiritual, the mode of goodness, pure goodness, all these activities, then urdhvam gacchanti sattvasta, then you go to the higher planetary system. Or if you have completed everything, then go back home, back to garden. If you have not, then madhye tishtanti rajasa. If you are then you remain in the same platform. Or if you have done abominable activities, atho gacchanti tamasa. So then you go down actually. So this is the way it works actually. So it is up to us how we mold our life so that whether we go up or down or stay in the same place. So this is the onus is on us actually. It's not Krishna's problem. Krishna is ready to help. Krishna is ready to facilitate everything. But as an individual, we have a free will. This is one big problem actually. Because of this free will only, all this. Because we have this free will, using the free will, we can surrender to Krishna. Using the free will, you can go against Krishna also. So it's a proper use of the free will. Use or misuse, actually. If you use it properly, then you can get the benefit of Krishna and Krishna's teachings. If you misuse it, then again, punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani, jatare side. You just go through the fairy wheel again and again you have to go through. So Srila Prabhupada continues here, at the time of death, therefore the position of the mind becomes the cause for the next body. So this is a very interesting, because nobody wants, people wants to live. You have heard many places, art of living. Art of living, a lot of courses are there. But nobody talks of art of dying, art of living actually. Krishna consciousness, not only living and how to die. Art of dying, art of living also. Living and living, very simple, very similar words only. Art of living is one thing, but art of living, whether you learnt or not, but art of living you have to learn. Because very, very more important than living. Actually, one say both are important. Sorry to say, not living is also important, and the living will reflect upon how you live also. It's not that living is not essential. Living is also essential, and essential also how you live also. So that is why in this sloka where Srila Prabhupada refers as confirmed, this is beauty. Prabhupada does not say anything which is not referred in the Shastra. Always, you see in this small purport, or 10, 20 lines purport, how many times Prabhupada quotes that Upanishad, this Upanishad, Bhagavad Gita, Bhāgavatam, everything Srila Prabhupada quotes. So when you read Prabhupada's purports, you read everything. You don't have to separately endeavor, I want to do Mundaka Upanishad, I want to know Taittiriya Upanishad, I want to read this Upanishad, I want to do that Upanishad. You don't have to read all of them. Because whatever is needed for the context, Srila Prabhupada provides everything actually. All in one place. That's the philosophy. Everything is one place only. Under one roof, everything should be available. That's what the whole mall hill, everything is like that only. Everything, you go to one place, you get everything. Not that you go here, there. No. You go one place, you get everything, and you spend money and come out. But here is you go to Srila Prabhupada's books, you get everything and you gain actually. So here, Prabhupada says here, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 8.6, yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatante kalevaram. At the time of death, the mind sets the criteria for the spirit souls being carried to another type of body. So, the mind is a very, very tricky one actually. Mind is subtle or gross? Subtle. Good. At least we have that understanding. That's very good. Mind is subtle. So, it is not like something you can just touch and feel. Mind is very subtle. Mind, intelligence and false ego. Mind is subtle. So, the mind plays a very pivotal role. Prabhupada says, mind plays a pivotal role in our spiritual life. So, in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the beginning of 6th chapter, there is a very nice description how this is fifth sloka. Uddharet atmanam atmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva hi atmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanaha. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and is enemy as well. It's very mind. Or as Prabhupada says, the translation Prabhupada says, one must deliver himself with the help of the mind and not degrade himself. This is the role of the mind. The mind is like and it says, Srila Prabhupada says here, the mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and is enemy as well. If the mind is used properly, and mind is directed or mind is used in the service of the Lord, or then the mind can be trained actually. This is the instruction. It's not like even materialistic people also, like there are a lot of courses, a lot of big organizations, they conduct this mind control. What do they have to do the mind control? All the big organizations, why they are they will send, if you are a newcomer, they will send you for some executives, they will send for training, mind control. They will say, oh, I thought we are joining a company, we are not going some Hare Krishna temple or something. They are also talking about mind control. Why they are mind control? When you control the mind, what will happen? Yeah, it's your friend. Yeah, then you can do things in a better way. Actually, they have ulterior motive. They want to get the best out of you. Not that you control your mind, you go back home, back to that. That is not the purpose. They are sending you to the mind control course, actually. They are sending you to mind control course so that you can know how to control the mind, and then you can put your best, 100%. 24/7, the 100% they want to put for the job. That's what they are sending you for the mind control. No? Because they also realize, slowly they are a bit slow, but at least they realize the mind has a very pivotal role in the life, actually. But Shastra already, so many years ago, millions of years ago, Krishna said, mind is very pivotal. No? This is what the sloka. One should deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is the friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well. It is up to you whether you make a mind as a friend or as an enemy. It is up to the individual. If you keep the mind in the good association and all these things, then the mind will be like a very, very, very good friend, actually. But if you keep the mind in the bad association, then the mind will become an enemy also. So the next sloka only, Lord Krishna says, for him who has conquered the mind is the best friend, but who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. For one who has conquered the mind, the super soul is already reached, for he has attained tranquility. To such a man, happiness and distress, heat and cold, honor and dishonor are all the same. So this is a description about the mind, actually. So that's why Srila Prabhupada mentions here, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, that sloka. And at the time of death, the mind sets the criteria for the spirit souls being carried to another type of body. Another type of body, another type of situation. What kind of situation you are going to be in, that is decided by what you do in this lifetime. So it's very, very important, like how we mold our life. Srila Prabhupada says, we have to mold our life in such a way that we remember Krishna. The Krishna remembrance is not a chance. Sometimes people, by luck he remembered Krishna, by luck. No, there is nothing considered luck, actually. This is not a luck. It is a fortune. Because the fortune is because if you practice remembering Krishna, then there is a very good chance that at the end also you will remember Krishna. Ante, Shastra say, Ante Narayana Smriti. If you say Ante Narayana Smriti has to be there, then you have to always Narayana Smriti. Then only Ante Narayana Smriti will come. It's not like one night or one day you are just going to pass away, immediately you will think about Narayana. Even Ajamil's case also, you may say Ajamil thought about Narayana. Yes, but Ajamil also did some homework. What homework Ajamil did? What homework? Not maths, physics, not that homework. What homework he did? What was the homework of Ajamil? Hare Krishna. What homework? Yeah, he did. He did practice initially. That is homework. He did initially helped his father do this thing, all this. He was good only. The beginning, everything was good only. Ajamil did some groundwork. But in the middle, there was a bit of a detour. Because asatsanga. Some asatsanga came. So then he got a little bit of... That is for us also. Because so many years ago, so many millions of years ago, and Ajamil got a little bit asatsanga. Now, Kali Yuga, everywhere asatsanga only. You just go on the street, stand there, asatsanga only, asatsanga left, asatsanga right, asatsanga center, everywhere asatsanga only. What is our chance? How do you escape this asatsanga? Very difficult only. It's not easy. That is why that's why Srila Prabhupada instituted this program, morning hearing, temple worship, deity darshan, Tulsi Maharani, Guru Puja, and then prasadam. So then you pack yourself with all these things, and then you go out, Hare Krishna. When you go out, then you have a very good chance that you are protected. Very good chance, because you are already vaccinated. No? Already vaccinated. No? Like you are vaccinated, then you can go. This is double vaccinated, actually. This morning program and Bhagavatam, Prasadam, triple vaccinated. All the booster, history, everything is done, actually. You are done. Then you go out, then all this, whatever things are thrown upon you, then you will be able to digest it, or at least able to understand in proper context, and then you can move forward.
But if you don't, without all this vaccination, we go, then you will get infected. We'll get infected. Oh, yeah, why did I come here? Why did he said, then all the thoughts will come, all these ideas and vague ideas, weird ideas will come, and then we think, oh, am I doing the right thing? Why? So that is why we have to be always kept in the association. That's why we come to morning program, evening program, so that, and during the day also, while we are doing, not that we space out or freak out or something, there also we are thinking, we do whatever we do, we are doing it for Krishna. So we have to constantly remember Krishna, then the mind will not go anywhere. There is no opportunity for mind to jump here, jump there. No, it's not, the opportunity is not there. But interesting thing is, Arjuna, 5,000 years ago, when Krishna gave all this, Lord Krishna gave all this prescription, he said this way, that way. This 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is very important actually for us. When you read, like it gives all the different detail. You go to Sucho, they say, and you have to sit erect and tip of the nose, concentrate, all the different prescriptions are there. But Arjuna said, no. It is not possible for me. 5,000 years ago, things were in a better position. Even at that time, he was saying, it's not possible for me. Now we are 5,000 years later, we are thinking, I am doing yoga, I am doing this. How it is possible? Okay, it will give some health benefit. I'm not denying that, okay. But real benefit of yoga is to concentrate the mind on the Krishna. That is the real purpose of yoga. So then Arjuna says, this is not possible. So, he says, what is that sloka? How the mind will fluctuate? Sanchalam. What is the sloka? Sanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati. Yes, you know that? Sanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavan druda. Huh? I also forgot. That's why I'm asking you. Don't think that I'm testing you. I'm also Sanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadrinam tasyaham nigraham manye vayu revacha. Krishna sometimes. Krishna is testing whether what this nonsense, like, then he's, okay, now I am giving you remembrance. That is why remembrance is coming. Otherwise, Krishna will leave like that, then we will keep on murmuring, the sloka will not come. Asamshayam. So then, Arjuna is saying this mind is like that only. Mind is like, he's saying mind is, I can control the wind, but I cannot control the mind. This is a position 5,000 years ago. So Lord Krishna, what did he answers? Then he says, yes, asamshayam mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grhyate. Abhyasa and vairagya. Krishna admits, even Lord Krishna admits, saying that asamshayam mahabaho manodur nigraham chalam. This controlling the mind is very difficult. Who says? Lord Krishna says. So that means whatever difficulty we are having, at least we can take heart. Krishna only said controlling the mind is difficult. So, but he put a one reason, how we can control the mind. Yes, asamshayam, undoubtedly it is very difficult to control the mind. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha gahyate. Abhyasa and vairagya. Abhyasa means practice. Vairagya means detachment. So if you have abhyasa and vairagya, then you can control the mind. So that is what Krishna is saying. So the same thing applies to us also. When we perform devotional service, so then we constantly remember Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Even at the time of death also, the same thinking will come. Otherwise, suddenly that immediately, oh, I'm in the deathbed, immediately I should remember Krishna. That doesn't come automatically. Actually. No, it has to come. Some practice has to go. Some practice. May not have 100% perfected, but some practice has to go. Then we will remember Krishna. So the Krishna guarantees that. Actually, no? Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tejatyante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavita. This one sloka before only is a asamshaya. Antakale chamam eva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati cha madbhavam yadi nastatra samshaya. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have any doubt about that. Because if you meditate on Krishna, if you remember Krishna, if you chant Hare Krishna, and then this process, if you have to pass away, then no problem. Krishna says, you will come back to my nature. So that facility is given for us. So that's why Srila Prabhupada says, if a living being resists the dictation of the mind and engages the mind in the loving service of the Lord, the mind cannot degrade him. So this is the formula. If the mind should not degrade us, then we should engage the mind in the loving service of the Lord. The mind cannot degrade him. So then Srila Prabhupada gives the example of Ambarish Maharaj. Ambarish Maharaj is a great devotee, Matpara devotee. Srila Prabhupada calls Matpara devotee. Why he saying, Savai Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. This is a very famous sloka. Because Ambarish Maharaj completely, even though he was a Maharaj, he was a very big king. He was a big king. He was engaged in all the duties of all the kingdom and everything. But still, he performed all these activities, devotional activities. So like this, I'll just read the translation to get an idea what Ambarish Maharaj was doing. Sometimes people will ask, Prabhu, please come. Somebody, no, I'm very busy, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But Maharaja's situation is like this actually. He is a king, and what he is doing, we'll just read this translation a little bit. Maharaj Ambarisha always engaged his mind in meditating upon the lotus feet of Krishna, his words in describing the glories of the Lord, his hands in cleansing the Lord's temple, and his ears in hearing the words spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. He engaged his eyes in seeing the deity of Krishna, Krishna's temple, and Krishna's places like Mathura and Vrindavan. By engaging the senses in touching the bodies of the Lord's devotees, he engaged his sense of smell in smelling the fragrance of tulasi offered to the Lord, and he engaged his tongue in tasting the Lord's prasad. He engaged his legs in walking to the holy places and temples of the Lord, his head in bowing down before the Lord, and all his desires in serving the Lord 24 hours a day. Indeed, Maharaj Ambarish never desired anything for his own sense gratification. He engaged all his senses in devotional service in various engagements related to the Lord. This is the way to increase attachment for the Lord and be completely free from all material desires. So, Maharaj Ambarish completely did everything actually. Even though he was a king, we are not a king. We are just like some computer programmer or some assistant here, assistant there, something. We are not able. But king only, he can do all these things. At least we may not be able to do all of them. At least some of them. That is why if you analyze this situation, the morning program and temple program is arranged in such a way, without even our knowledge, we perform so many angas of bhakti actually. Nectar of Devotion talks about 64 items of things. So when we come to temple, automatically those things are performed without even your knowledge. Just come, Guru Puja and this one, looking at the deity, Charana Amrita, worshipping the... Like you can make a count actually, just for as a project, so children can make how many things we are doing by just coming to the temple. Just coming to the temple, morning program, attending and prasadam. Almost 64 is covered actually. Everything is covered in that. That is, Srila Prabhupada did that. Why? Because if you become a habit, coming, see, like they come regularly. So then the whole day, school, wherever they go, they will be thinking about Krishna. Yeah, they will still concentrate on the job, not concentrate on the school. Not that they are going to forget that. They will do that. But your power will be so much actually. Your memory, everything will be increased actually. And it's an interesting thing. Once you have a clear perspective of life, then you will be able to do other things easily, actually. Why people are worried? Because people have some anxiety. What will happen? Whether I will stay in the job or this, or they will have a lot of anxiety. That's why they are not able to perform. But if you understand Krishna is your protector, then the fellow will not have any difficulty at all. He will be clear. So then for him to work or do anything, he will be doing the best possible way he will be doing. So that is why Srila Prabhupada says, when the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, the intelligence is purified, and then the intelligence gets inspiration from the super soul. The super soul is ready to guide us all the time. All the time. So, by the mind has to be purified. If the mind is not purified, the mind will direct the intelligence go to the negative way. But that's why Srila Prabhupada says here, when the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of Krishna, the intelligence is purified and the intelligence gets inspiration from the super soul. dadami buddhi yogam tam. So Krishna says in 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvaham dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantite. Krishna gives the intelligence by which we can come back to him. Krishna only gives the intelligence. Krishna shows the way. Assuming I'm not very learned or anything, doesn't matter. But if we engage in devotional service, Krishna gives you intelligence. Tesham satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. If you worship Krishna priti purvakam, dadami buddhi yogam tam enamam upayantide. He will show the rasta, marga darshan. Sometimes they say marga darshan. This Krishna will do the marga darshan. Krishna will show you how you can come back. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to put in your Google map or anything. No? You don't have to put. Krishna will make the arrangement. How you can come back to him. Tesham evanagam partam aham ajnanacham tamah nasayami atma bhavasto jnana deepena bhaswata. Anukam partam. Krishna is very compassionate. He removes this darkness born of ignorance by the torch of knowledge. Krishna makes the arrangement. Krishna gives the arrangement. Krishna sends the representative. Krishna sends the guru. Krishna gives this Bhagavad Gita. Krishna reminds us also. So that is Krishna's magnanimity. Even though Krishna is supreme, and then he is down to earth, he comes to the level, our level also, Jivatma level, and he comes and guides. Why he does all these things? He doesn't have anything else to do? No, because he is concerned. Because sometimes people don't understand, no? Like why God should be concerned about us. God is concerned about us because we are part and parcel of him. It pains Krishna also in one sense. No? It pains Krishna. Like for example, as a father, as a mother, if the children are going through some suffering, then you also have some pinch. Same way, Krishna also has a pinch. He wants us to come back to him. So that's why he is struggling. And that is why anybody who is trying to help in this is very, very dear to Krishna. That is what Krishna says in 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. This is like this person is very, very dear to me. Why he is very dear to me? Why he is very dear to Krishna? Why? The person who is preaching the message is very dear to Krishna. Why? Any idea? Yeah, but because Krishna also wants to do that only. Krishna also wants to, the devotee, to the person to come back home, back to Godhead. And the devotee is also helping Krishna in that way. Krishna doesn't need any help, but still they are helping Krishna. So that way Krishna says, oh, you are helping me? Okay, I will give you also great intelligence. I will give you understanding. I will give you knowledge. Everything Krishna gives. That is why Krishna gives so much importance for the devotees. So, as Paramatma, he says here, the individual soul is subject to the laws of fruitive activity, but the super soul, Paramatma, is not affected by the fruitive activities of the individual soul. Yes, even though he is the permitter, he is Upadrishta and Anumanta. Krishna is like sitting beside you and he is only permitting you to do things. But that doesn't mean that he is the one. All this, you only permitted, that is why I did. No, because you desired. Because the desire is there. Our desire, according to our desire only, Krishna fulfills this desire. It's interesting. I may desire, I want to sit in the chair of Prime Minister or President. Yeah, why Krishna? Why you didn't fulfill the desire? Yeah, Krishna fulfilled the desire. But it's not just like your desire and whether you are entitled to sit in the desire, whether you have enough sukruti to sit in the desire, in the seat. That's when one person, I want to sit in the seat of a president. Yeah, you can sit, but not as a president, as a bug in the seat. You can also sit as a mosquito or some bug. No? You can sit in the seat. You can sit there also. But not the way you wanted to fulfill the desire. So Krishna is very tricky actually. Don't think Krishna like, oh Krishna, just you will fulfill my desire. Okay, like take this order. They're like Uber order. No? You are giving order. Like, okay, take this order, fulfill that. No, Krishna is not that cheap actually. He will fulfill the order, but you have to have the credit. You have to have the sukruti, has to be there. The sukruti is not that Krishna is going to fulfill the way he has to fulfill. He will fulfill like that only. So we have to be very careful. And he is not affected by this. As confirmed in the Vedic Upanishad, Paramatma and the Jivatma, who are likened to two birds, are sitting on the body. The Jivatma is enjoying or suffering by eating the fruits of the bodily activities, but Paramatma, who is free from such bondage, witness sanction the activities of the individual soul as the individual soul desires. So this is the Srila Prabhupada refers to this, the two birds. In the passage, Prabhupada writes, in Mundaka Upanishad and Svetasvatara Upanishad confirms this. Although the two birds are in the same tree, the eating bird is fully engrossed with anxiety and moroseness as enjoyer of the fruits of the tree. But in some way or other, he turns his face to his friend, who is the Lord, and knows his glories. At once the suffering bird becomes free from all anxieties. Arjuna has now turned his face towards his eternal friend Krishna and is understanding the Bhagavad Gita from him. And thus, hearing from Krishna, he can understand the supreme glories of the Lord and be free from lamentation. So this is the way Krishna helps, actually. The two birds example is very, very important. Srila Prabhupada refers that the two birds are eating. One bird is eating, the other bird is just watching. The eating bird is Jivatma, us. And the watching bird is Paramatma. The eating bird is busily eating all the fruits of activity, good, bad, all these things. But Paramatma is just only watching. Anumanta, Upadrashta. Upadrashta and Anumanta. He is just watching, and according to that, the desires are being fulfilled. Krishna fulfills the desire. So it is very important what we desire. So the only bottom line is this only. As a living entity, we have only one capacity. We can desire. We can desire. If you desire association, desire Krishna, then Krishna will fulfill. If you desire Maya, then Krishna will fulfill that desire only. So it is. So that's why we have to be very careful in deciding what do we want, why are we here, what is the purpose of life, what is. See, if that is not clear, then things will become difficult. So that's why this the Srila Prabhupada's books are there, purports are there, and then we can read and can understand actually. There's so much clarity in life actually. We can understand everything black and white. Yes, where we are heading towards. Very clear. There's no like a hazy idea, no vague situation. Everything is clear. Actually. As long as we stick to this process, then we will go back home, back to God. In this lifetime only. Why to wait for another lifetime? This lifetime only we can go back home, back to God. Provided we stick to this process. Given by the Acharya, given by Srila Prabhupada, then we can do that. So, this knowledge Yamaraja is explaining. Because sometimes, like Lord Krishna explains, sometimes Yamaraja explains, sometimes Hiranyakasipu explains. So, like this knowledge is like there, so that we can take advantage of that. Even though this is again, we have heard this many times, but still, if you don't take advantage of the knowledge, then that is only a bookish knowledge only. If you don't understand, if you don't put that into practice, then I'm not this body, I am spirit, soul. That will be only in the paper only, only in the book. I have not realized that. Then that type of thing will not be helpful. So, at least we have to attempt. At least theoretically we have to understand first, and then practically next level we can understand. Theoretically only we don't understand, then how will you practically understand? It's very difficult. So, thank you very much. Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions or comments, please? Yes? Without Sivia's question, class is not complete. Good.
Yes. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, thank you for the nice class. You were talking about the soul and the super soul. So I'd like to ask, the super soul as Lord Krishna, he's the witness of our activities, and he also directs us to do good and bad activities. So
based on our desire. But if we have a desire, if you want to say, like if a living entity desires to do, and Krishna will say, if the living entity wants to do some bad activity, Krishna will remind us, okay, this is not good. But if the living entity can decide to continue or not continue, it's up to the living entity. Krishna will not force anyone. Correct? Yeah, is your question?
And
sorry, I'm not confusing you.
Then why doesn't he help the devotees more than the non-devotees? What I mean is why does he, as the super soul inside, avoid the devotees to perform bad activities?
Yeah, actually Krishna doesn't encourage anyone to perform any bad activity, but the living entity, because of the modes of material nature, wants to perform some bad activity, and then as Krishna, what he is saying is he gives, if you perform this activity, you are going to get this reaction. Okay? Sometimes, like a simple example, like a fire. The fire, the child is going to touch the fire. Mother says, or father says, don't touch the fire, it is going to burn. 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Oh, no, I am going to touch it. Yes, you touch it. And oh, hey, my father told it burns. So then we understand. So Krishna says, don't do that. But living entities, because of the minute independence is there for this is like a swatantra, minute independence for the living entity. Living entity has that capacity. It's so powerful, living entity is so powerful that it disobey Krishna's order also. It can disobey. But if you disobey, at a cost. What cost? Then you come back to this material world. Ichha, dvesha, samudayana, dvanda, mohena. You come to this world, duality, and then we have to suffer. That is our basic problem, basic premise why we came to this material world is that only. Because we disobeyed Krishna. That is why we came. Krishna said, don't do that. You don't go there. There is nothing to check it out for you. Don't go to material. Oh, no, I want to go. I want to be the enjoyer. Okay, statastu. You come back to this place, and then that's why the spiritual life means then we understand. We go through all these things. Oh, yeah, Krishna, you did right. You said the right thing only. I didn't listen properly. So then surrender to Krishna. Then Krishna is ready to take us back. So, yeah, that minute independence is there for the living entity. That is a big, using the minute independence in the right direction, you can do wonders. You do the wrong direction, then you wreck the whole thing and then stay here for eternity in the material world only. Does that make sense? Or?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else? Any other questions, comments, anything? You want to say any comments, anything? Any other points? Okay, no problem. Thank you very much. Grantara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.